Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday with the Jocks of All Trades podcast. It is time for Jock Talk. I'm joined by Kyle here today. We'll probably have a couple other people joining us late. But as usual, we got a lot of sports stuff to talk about. And this week it'll be the NFC 2022 draft grades. If you caught us last week, we talked AFC. If you missed that, go back and listen to it. But tonight will solely be for NFC. Let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor, Fresh Cuts. Caleb Kemper is here in Marion, Indiana. It's not just a haircut, it's an experience. Book with Caleb now at www.freshcutsbarbershop.com. Mondays and Tuesdays are his more open day and a good time to come around to see him. We also want to acknowledge our friend pods, Afro Latinos, Aubin and Channy, and their work. Rules of the Frame, which we'll be seeing soon. They'll be joining us. They're a movie review podcast. Also, another movie review podcast, since that seems to be our primary friend group. 1,000 Wives Weird with Billy and Brad. We haven't had Brad on here yet because that would be really confusing for everybody involved because multiple Brads. But we are really grateful for our friend pods and their contributions. And we got a Matt. Nice.
Howdy, y'all.
What's up? Us.
How much?
Go ahead and get set here. Kyle, I'm going to lose my voice a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to start off with the NFC East. Let me go ahead and pull up the stuff that I need. Do you want to go ahead and just start with the Eagles then, since I know you know that like the back of your hand?
Yeah. So the Eagles went into this draft with having like 10 picks, and then we kind of know what happened on draft night. They got rid of a few picks, move up for Jordan Davis, and they got rid of a couple more to get A.J. Brown. So if you factor in A.J. Brown, a part of this draft class, I'd probably give it an A+, but I don't think we're doing that. So I'd probably give it an A-, honestly. I kind of wish they'd have more picks. But getting Jordan Davis in the first, who's an elite freak talent, a very much a unicorn. It's kind of what we called him after the combine.
Yep.
One of the best players on the Georgia defense, and then probably getting the second best player, or some people would say the first best player on Georgia's defense, Nakobe Dean, the third round. Getting a center, Cam Jurgens, who people call him beef jerky. He has his own beef jerky brand. That itself is an A. No, but with those first three picks, getting your heir apparent, Jason Kelsey, getting those two Georgia defensive players, and then their 6th-round picks, definitely athletic guys that could make the team. In Kyron Johnson and Grant Calcaterra, former Oklahoma Sooner, played with Jalen Hurts actually, so they'll be reunited. It's a good draft. Again, I feel like they should have had more picks, but I'm gonna give it an A-. I'm not gonna give it a full A or an A+. I don't think they deserve that. So,
I will wholly disagree with you. I'll give him an A, because if A.J. Brown was included, it'd be an A+. But hey, look, when you got two of the best players on Georgia's defense, which was pretty scary for most of the season, they're going to come in and contribute maybe day one.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good for a defense that's been meh for a couple years. Hopefully they can rejuvenate the defense, because it definitely won't be James Bradbury. Sorry.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah.
Me personally, you factor in the A.J. Brown trade, I agree with Brad. I'd put it at an A+ when you figure they were able to make trades and pick him up. But no, I would give him a solid A for sure, just because, they got, the defensive weapons they needed that's going to make that defense even more scary than what it was. And, with picking up Cam Jurgens, I'm sure that'll help Jalen Hurts hopefully develop more as a passer. Maybe he won't feel the need to scramble as much. But, yeah, I give him a solid A for sure.
Yeah, I like it. Let's roll with kind of the weirdo team now in the NFC East, the Commanders. I'm going to be honest, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Like, out of all things you could say about their draft, it wasn't bad. Jahan Dotson is going to be a really good complement to Terry McLaurin. Might actually be able to bail out the perennial bad quarterback in Carson Wentz.
Hey, you watch your mouth.
Fedarian Mathis, Brian Robinson, I think they just really, really like
Listen,
Alabama for
we have
whatever reason.
way too many Alabama players.
They do. It's kind of funny.
I mean, they're good, but it's just like, are you done like just sniping from that school? Like, there are other schools you can draft.
Right. Are you aware of that? Yeah. Sam
was
Howell
gonna
in the
say,
fifth was
Not everyone can be Nick Saban.
It's true. We're talking to you, Jumbo Fisher. Sam Howell in the fifth round was kind of a gold mine. Like, if he pans out, that's hey. And it's not like you play in a hard division anyways. Sorry. So, I mean, you kind of just need an okay quarterback and good weapons. And I would say McLaurin and Jahan Dotson together should be pretty good. And then everything else was kind of whatever. But I'll give it a B. It wasn't sexy by any means, but it was solid. You picked up people that are going to contribute pretty early, I would think, except for Brian Robinson. That wouldn't make sense to me because he's going to be RB3 in that offense.
Yeah. I'd probably give it a B minus. I do like their draft. I think they probably reached with Jahan a little bit.
Yeah.
But it does make sense if they're planning to let Terry walk or to trade him, because if there's anybody in this draft that is like Terry McLaurin, it's probably Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
Very similar body types, very similar radius and speed and route running ability. And the going rate for receivers is just insane. So like if they're saying, hey, we don't want to pay him, we'll have Jahan instead. It's not bad. Fedarian Mathis and Brian Robinson, I like both of them. But I don't think they really reached after Jahan. I think that's why I'll give it a B minus. I just think that Brian Robinson's probably not a need with J.D. McKissick there and Antonio Gibson. I'm sure they have someone else too. But I do like Sam Howell. I think at the 5th round pick, I think guaranteed I'll put money on this that he's going to start at some point this year. I don't know when, but I think he's going to. Getting Cole Turner and Chris Paul, who I thought would have went much earlier. I think this is definitely a decent draft that could be really good if Jahan becomes that wide receiver number 1 and if Sam Howell can play some games this year. So
well, and it'll be interesting to see how Chris Paul adjusts from the NBA.
And how he adjusts from gaining 200 pounds and
he looks a little different now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it'll pan out really well. He might actually get a ring.
Right. Ouch.
For me, like I don't hate their picks, but I don't love them. As far as picking Jahan Dotson, I mean, I agree with Kyle, which I agree with Kyle as well with giving him like a B minus. It really didn't make sense for them to pick up Brian Robinson like at all. I mean, unless they plan on using a 3 running back system, but I don't know if that's ever worked at all. What I will disagree with you, Kyle, about is letting Terry McLaurin, walk.
Oh, I don't think they should. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think they should either. I mean,
I hope.
Yeah, but no, I look at it as obviously this is Carson Wentz's last chance for anything. So I think them picking up Sam Howell, it's going to, come down to those two. And, I have to agree that Sam Howell will probably start at some point this season. Will it be day 1? I don't think so. But at some point during the season, I would almost say week 8. Like I would almost, go that far as saying that. And, Jahan Dotson, he'll definitely complement Terry McLaurin really well. So either way, you have 2 very speedy receivers for a quarterback. It's just a matter of which one is going to take advantage of that. Is it going to be Carson or is it going to be Sam Howell?
Yeah.
So
I
give him a B minus.
I think if Sam plays this year, which I think he will, it'll either be he'll come in middle of the season because Carson Wentz isn't doing well, or he'll get hurt, or he'll come in like the last 3 games of the year because we both know that like Washington's probably not going to make the playoffs. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, the last 3 games of the year, we're not making the playoffs anyway, so why not give Sam Howell a chance to see what he's got? So, I think either way, he's probably going to play some games this year for sure.
Agreed. Let's head on over to the Cowboys. As I've had time to sit on this, oof. I felt like they were really reachy, really reachy. That's kind of the best thing that I can say for them. I don't. Here it is. There we go. Okay. I don't like the pick of Tyler Smith. Like, I get that it's a need. I don't. You could have got him in the 3rd round, probably, even the 2nd round. Like, why he had to be a 1st-round pick was kind of ludicrous. Then you followed it up by a defensive end. Did you really need a defensive end? Like,
well, I did, but someone
was
not him.
Like somebody known, like.
I mean, you got Micah Parsons.
Right. And then you got Jalen Tolbert. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you did let like half your receiver core go. Like, I get that, but still, like, will Gallup be healthy in time? Is CeeDee Lamb ready to take on wide receiver 1, or was he just better in a complementary role? Like, there were a lot of questions that they didn't consider. And Tolbert kind of reminds me of that CeeDee Lamb type of just kind of the speedy guy. So now you want CeeDee Lamb to become more of an X receiver, and now you want Jalen Tolbert to play the slot. Like, I don't think they have a plan for what they're doing. Following it up with a tight end, you got 2 really good ones. You dummies.
9 fingers, by the way.
I heard about that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Another tackle because you didn't trust your 1st rounder, and then some like desperation picks. So honestly, it's a C. I got to give him a C. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it either, Brad. I think Tyler Smith might listen. When Cowboys draft players, they are all Cowboys from the time they draft them. Like, you hear about them, you're like, oh, that makes sense why they're a Cowboy. Like Tyler Smith. He had the most penalties in college football for like a tackle, like a lot of like unnecessary roughnesses and things like that. Like, oh, that sounds like a Cowboy. Sam Williams, off the field issues. Oh, that sounds like a Cowboy. Jake Ferguson has 9 fingers. Oh, that sounds like a Cowboy. No, but like that's what they do. But I agree. They reached on the first one. I say they reached on Sam Williams. Tolbert's not really a reach right there, but I'm kind of in agreement with you there. Like, is CeeDee Lamb ready to be what Amari Cooper was? I don't know. That would mean Tolbert should be what Michael Gallup was, and Michael Gallup should be what CeeDee Lamb was.
That's my point. Like, they're trying to do this, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Jake Ferguson's, I think, actually a pretty good tight end.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's going to see the field.
With me now, as we're both dressed for like Easter Sunday brunch. Well done, Cam.
What the heck? Anyway, yeah, the last number of picks, like you said, are just kind of like reaches or like just a home run, like a prayer. So Damone Clark could have went much earlier, I think, but again, they have like 15 linebackers. They just drafted Micah Parsons last year, Leighton Vander Esch. They drafted, I believe, another linebacker last year as well. So, yeah, I don't like this draft at all. I'd give it a C- for sure.
Yeah, for me, I got to go with a C as well. Like, I'm sorry. Like, sure, offensive tackle was, I'm sure, a need, but I feel like they could have gotten a better pick, and with like trying to think of some of the corners or like defensive backs that were available, during that time, you needed someone the opposite of Diggs, and if nothing else, you definitely could have picked up a tackle in the 2nd or even the 3rd round because, I mean, there were a dime a dozen this draft. I mean, I think I mentioned it a few times in previous podcasts where, if you wanted a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, this was your draft.
Yeah.
Like, they were literally a dime a dozen. So, me personally, like, I think they've reached for Tyler Smith. As far as Sam Williams, going to or being picked as well, you didn't really need that edge rusher because you got Micah Parsons, who's so far like a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Like it didn't make sense the first 2 picks. Tolbert, I mean, do I see CD Lamb becoming a number 1 receiver in that offense? I mean, it's going to be one of those he kind of has to, because I mean, who else do you got? But yeah, to me, it's got to be a C-. Like none of their picks made sense to me.
I think it would have made more sense if they went and got Karlaftis in the first round.
Yeah.
Because Karlaftis
yeah.
like isn't just like a speed rusher. Like he's going to be an every down defensive lineman.
Yeah.
You'll never take him off the field. You know, JJ Watt ish. That's the comp there. But like they need that. They need someone, an enforcer on that D line that people are like need to game plan for. Like you have to game plan for Micah Parsons. That's amazing. Like good for them. You got like your stud. But to game plan for someone else, that is something that you need. I don't think Sam Williams is that guy. I think he's just like a rotational type of pass rusher, probably. You know, like they need someone that was like a stud on the D line, and I think Karlaftis could have gave him that. And I really thought that's where they were going to go because usually in the Cowboys' history of drafting, they kind of go like best player available.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where the position is. They're just like, oh yeah, he's good. Okay, we'll take him. So, I don't love it. So,
and the reports coming out of Chiefs training camp is they've had to tell Karlaftis to chill out so they can actually run plays. Like that's great. I love hearing that. Like that's fantastic. Like and you passed up on that for some guy that could probably be a bust. Like and probably will be a bust. Like, will he probably be a decent player? Yeah. Is he going to be worth a first round draft pick? Probably not. So I agree. Caesar, that's a good average. Let's go with probably my favorite team draft out of this like division. Let's go to the Giants. I'm going to make this quick and simple. I'm going to give them an A, just because your first 2 picks make up for anything else you would have done. Like when you take Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, and if they both hit like their ceiling, they're going to be there for a long time contributing to that team. Fantastic choices. Address 2 massive needs, which you win the game of football on the line. If you don't have a good line, you're not going to do anything. And that's what they addressed, which it's going to help Jones. It's going to help that defense, which has been shoddy for a long time. Then in the second round to go get Wan'Dale Robinson. Jay is not here yet, but Jay has been really hot on Wan'Dale Robinson. Probably will be better than Kenny Golladay. Most likely. I'm kind of done with Kenny Golladay. I don't really think he's worth it. Then they went and got another corner. They got another offensive lineman, a tight end. I mean, they kind of just took a lot. And I've always said, like with the Patriots, I think one of the reasons they've succeeded is they take a lot of players because it's a lot better to take a lot of players and have more potential and whittle down to what's good than to take like 3 and then be like, well, I hope they work. So
especially in a new system, like with a new GM, new head coach, like you don't really know what you want yet. So if you are like, yeah, we'll trade up for 3 guys, well, are those your guys? You don't know.
You better
if you get like 15 of them, you're probably going to hit a few. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
I was going to say for me, I'd give him a solid A. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau, I feel like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder anyway. The guy thought he should have went number 1 overall, which a year ago I would have agreed with that. But he's going to have that mentality of, let's just go day 1. Yeah. Evan Neal, I mean, this is Danny Dimes' last shot as well at that quarterback position. That might help him. It should help Saquon Barkley as well, as long as he stays away from the injury bug. Wan'Dale Robinson, listen, I mean, I'm one of those people that picked Kenny Golladay in fantasy draft this past season. Probably the worst decision I ever made. You can't get much worse than, Golladay. So I think picking up Wan'Dale, definitely going to help him a lot. Yeah, like those 3 picks alone, I think is their saving grace. So yeah, I give them an A for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's go to the NFC South. I'm going to bring Jay in. I just saw that he got here. Let me flip everybody around, and we're good. Okay, what's up? NFC. Oh, I'm sorry, NFC West. We're going to do NFC West. This should be pretty easy. Let's start with the Rams. I'm going to give them an F for their draft, but in terms of what they're doing with their team, they're pretty solid. But look, when you barely take anybody, how in the world would you like me to grade you high? Like when your first pick is in the 3rd round and you take a guard who could be good, maybe he won't, who knows? Yeah, I'm not feeling it. Like this is pretty easy. Of like, you took nothing, you get nothing.
Yeah, I think Logan Bruss will probably start for them. I feel like the Rams, even with their very low amount of picks, they usually kind of know what they want. I think Kyron Williams will probably play for them. I think Kendrick will play for them. I think
Yep.
Logan Bruss will. However, they're not going to be impact guys right away. So I'd give it a C minus. I'm pretty hopeful that some of these guys will turn out. It seems like they have that knack for doing that. But yeah, right now I'll probably give it a C minus. So
Yeah, for me, I got to give them like a D, honestly. I mean, will these guys pan out? Probably not, but like literally, when your first pick is until what, the 3rd round? I mean, I'm not saying you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I mean, you don't have your home run picks, I feel like, at that point. And, as far as the offseason goes, I would give them an A for sure, but, agreeing with Brad there. But as far as the draft, I got to go with the D. I mean, I'm not feeling their picks.
Well, I could give them. I could also give them a D with a possible C plus upgrade if some of the players such as Logan Bruss or Jacoby Durant, who's probably going to be fitted in the slot. He was pretty good in the slot with South Carolina State. It's not a bigger college, but he has a lot of potential for upside. They got Kyron Williams, the running back from Notre Dame. Yeah, he's got great elusiveness, and he's a great receiving running back, which is something that the Rams don't necessarily do, but they've never had the same starting running back in 3 years. It's always been a different lead back every year, so he could get an opportunity if he can show a little bit of elusiveness with that offensive line. And, I maybe could see the cornerback, Ron Kendrick, maybe having a little bit of impact because their cornerback position is pretty spotty after the number 1. So there could be opportunities, but will they come in and impact and change the game as we know it? Probably not. But there'll be slot depth pieces. Some could be valuable, but who knows? When you start at the end of day 2, it's not really much.
No, yeah, you're not going to get the number 1 day 1 impact when you're starting there. I agree with that. Let's go to the Cards. I gave the Cards a C.
That's not fair.
I didn't understand their first pick. Like, you still have Zach Ertz, and you took a tight end first? Like, McBride's good. McBride is good. It's a good pick. But it wasn't the first need for them. Like, that's not the first thing I would have taken. Then they took Cam Thomas. Kyle, you and I have talked about Cam Thomas before. We liked him. Might be a good place for him to go, especially because they need somebody to replace that hole left by Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
Myjai Sanders, another. They're just trying to bolster that line. Ingram from USC could be good. And then I know Jay is going to comment on this one. Christian Matthew from Valdosta State. Hey,
Yes.
I don't know where Jay lives. He lives in Valdosta, Georgia, which is where Valdosta State is. So I'm assuming I'll say, he's not going to do anything, and I'm sure I'll get some pushback. But that's okay. I wasn't blown away by what they took. I mean, I don't know. I'm still just complaining that they've got Zach Ertz and you took a tight end. Like that for me already gave your grade you had other things to address.
Yeah, and they got Hollywood Brown for like a first rounder, and that's just not worth it.
Thank God. What
Um,
a steal.
Yeah, not worth it at all. I like Cam Thomas and Majai Sanders in the third. I
Yeah.
think that's like you said, Chandler Jones being gone, JJ Watt is like soon gonna be gone. Like that's good to replenish your defensive line. I like that. Your pass rush, you need that. But yeah, getting a tight end second round, not addressing the offensive line really early, not addressing the interior of your D line, and not addressing your corners at all. Like I think those are all pretty big needs for them, and part of the reason why they kind of like crapped out at the end of last year is kind of because Murray just ran everywhere. Part of that's due to him. Part of that's due to his offensive line being kind of bad. Just not overall very good. And Cliff Kingsbury doesn't want to see that. Apparently he likes seeing Kyler Murray run for his life. I don't. So they didn't address that at all. McBride's not really a blocking tight end. He's more of a pass catcher, which Zach Ertz is also not much of a blocking tight end. So I guess they're just going to go and hope that Murray runs around for his life again. He looks like a little gremlin out there and throw bombs to his receivers. So not the best plan, but that's what they're going for. So I'm going to give him a C- on that.
For me, I'd give him a B minus. I mean, the Trey McBride pick, it didn't make sense because, you have Zach Ertz. Granted, he's getting older, but he can still produce in the right offense. And I think, that type of offense would work if he's healthy. As far as like Cameron Thomas, Myjai Sanders, I thought those were good picks. Like you guys alluded to, they lost Chandler Jones. The J.J. Watt, as much as I love J.J. Watt, he's getting older. I mean, he can't really stay healthy for a full season anymore. You might as well try to beef up the defensive end or the defensive line as much as you can. Ingram out of USC, I like it because I feel like it's going to complement James Conner a lot. So, I mean that I think I think that's why I give them a B minus because I mean they addressed some issues. Definitely needed to get some corners for sure. So why they didn't take one in the second round with where they were, I don't know. I mean maybe I don't know. Maybe they got something up their sleeve that we don't see. So that's where I'm at with it.
Well, I could give them, even though the pieces that they got really didn't fit what we thought maybe their biggest needs, they still were very solid. They weren't picks to scoff at. Some of the guys, McBride was prospected to be a second round draft pick. He slipped to the second round. So did their first defensive end. He slipped to the second round. These guys have a lot of upside. So I think the potential for them to be better is a possibility. But just to give you, I want to give you a couple of stats on Christian Matthew from Valdosta State. You want to know his pro day stats? His 40-yard dash. He's 6'2", 195, and his 40-yard dash is 4.5. So I think that's one of the main reasons. And his vertical jump is 41.5 inches. Broad jump 20.7 inches. His cone and shuffle is pretty good too. I think the intangibles. They picked a lot of guys that kind of fit into the mold, and it's a defensive-minded coach, so they're going to get an opportunity to kind of grow their defensive coordinator. It's pretty decent, so it'll give them an opportunity to kind of develop these guys. McBride may be a home run. He's not graded as bad as a pass blocker, but a run blocker he's not very good at. He's not very good at moving his hips. He probably is a lower budget version of the guy he's playing to the left, who he's backing up. We're all nearly the same. And his problems are his aggressiveness. So,
Yeah.
But you can't really go wrong with a lot of solid picks unless they don't. we won't know until a couple years anyway. So
Right.
I can give them a B plus with a possibility of having a.
It's not bad. Let's move on to the Niners. I didn't love anything really in this whole division. So I'm going to give the Niners a C minus. Drake Jackson is probably the best thing they picked up. That's kind of where I'm at. Ty Davis Price, congratulations. You're behind like 5 other running backs. Who cares? Like, fantastic. Good for you. Danny Gray, I think they picked Danny Gray to be the next. My brain is now shutting off. Nice. Right when I need
Debo.
they're trying to pick the next Debo. Thank you. And Danny Gray is very different, but he's got a 4.3 speed. That should work really well in that offense. Be a nice compliment to Kittle, to Debo, which at this point it sounds like Debo's going to stay. Although whether that will be for a long time, who knows? Offensive lineman, corner, and then just a bunch of interesting stuff. I thought it was weird they took Brock Purdy in the 7th round. I thought Brock Purdy could have just gone undrafted and gone to a practice squad, but go figure.
That's the next
That's
good.
not knowing what to do with your last pick.
Yes. Purdy is just going to be what's his name from Iowa? Nick Mullins. That's what he's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nick
So,
Mullins.
I didn't love their draft. I really
No.
didn't. I thought their first pick was the best pick, and he'll be impactful pretty early. Be a nice compliment to Bosa, but that's about it.
Yeah, I like Drake Jackson too, but the rest of the draft's pretty underwhelming. I think Spencer Burford will probably see the field at some point. But yeah, other than that, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, that's cool, but he won't do anything. I like Tariq Castro-Field from Penn State, but like he's depth at best. So yeah, I'll probably give it a D. Honestly, there's really nothing about this draft that I like or even love. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a D.
Brock Purdy. It's going to be the next Tom Brady.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he won't.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad I could set you up there, Brad.
Yes, thank you.
But no, like I don't like their the only pick that maybe made sense would be Danny Gray. You know, like you guys talked about, he could be that, Debo type of player to where it could help out either Garoppolo or Trey Lance. I mean, we don't know who's going to start yet. I mean, I would like to see Trey Lance start this year. I'd like to see, something happen there.
Yeah.
Drake Jackson, I do like it. I think he would be great, opposite of Bosa. Sam Womack out of Toledo. I mean, they needed some help as far as the corners go. So, they picked up a couple corners. I don't know if they're going to work out. We'll wait and see. But for me, I got to give them a C.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could stick with the same C vibe with the possibility of a D, because I don't see much upside outside of Drake Jackson. I don't see what a lot of people see in Danny Gray. I think he's kind of one-dimensional. His speed gives him a lot of wiggle room, but his hands leave a lot lacking. To be someone who touched the ball as much as he did, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fences. You can put me on that fence. I'm not really sure if what he did at SMU would translate to the NFL level. I definitely did not like them picking up Davis Price. For what reason? I have no idea what he will see. I don't think he even runs in the same pieces. I don't know. I don't get that bit. The offensive tackles were also a good sprinkling in from pretty decent schools. So maybe they'll have opportunities to kind of add in some depth. I see. I'm with you on Buford probably even being the most likely of the two to start. But, yeah, C minus.
Yeah.
Not
That
really.
seems all right. That makes sense. It just wasn't like most of these draft classes weren't sexy, except for like a handful of like teams. As I went back to it, I lied. I didn't hate the Seahawks draft. I didn't hate it. I'm probably going to be the only person that grades it really high. I gave them a B minus, and
Yeah.
I had to think about it. Charles Cross. Finally, now that Russell Wilson is gone, you guys decide to address your O line. Are you kidding me? It
was
took
so
you
mad.
getting rid of Russell Wilson to be like, yeah, you're right. Maybe we should draft some O linemen. You're
There
moron
you go.
because Drew Lock is not Russell Wilson.
You don't know that.
See,
Okay, right.
the jury is not out on him. He still has a chance to turn things around. How long did it take? What's his name that played with San Francisco? Alex Smith. Took him 6 seasons
True.
to turn it around to become serviceable. So
That's true.
I'll give you that.
Mafe in the second round. Great pickup. Kenny Walker. Finally, Chris Carson's been meh at best.
thank
Finally,
you.
maybe Kenny Walker takes over.
Thank you. That
'Cause
shows that also shows that they have no faith in the other running back who took over. What was his name?
Rashad Penny.
Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
Rashad Penny.
Drafted in the first round a few years ago. They spend way too much capital on running backs. It's the only gripe I have with their draft is like for a team that really didn't run the ball that much with Russell Wilson, they spent way too much on their running backs. So
Right. Then Abraham Lucas out of Washington State. Nice. Put Charles Cross on one side, Lucas on the other one. Perfect. Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati. We kind of talked like he was kind of overshadowed in that defense, but he's still good.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's not going to be Richard Sherman, but he'll probably be serviceable, which is good. And
I'm
they
pretty
need
sure he won an award for the best corner in college football.
that. He
I'm
might have.
sure.
I think so.
But he wasn't my favorite pick that they had. It's the pick right after him with Tariq Woolen out of UTSA. I liked that. You picked two corners that could potentially come in day one, work well together. Fantastic. And then the back half is met. But hey, it was like a home run up till the back end. The only thing I don't like is, you're right. For a team that didn't run a whole lot, you took another running back. So that either means you're changing your offense for Drew Lock, or you just don't like Chris Carson, Rashad Penny, Alex Collins, whoever in the world it is that shows up after week. But you did address your pass defense, fantastic, and you addressed your pass blocking, run blocking. Great. That is the only reason I'm giving them a B minus.
Yeah, I'd give it an A.
Whoa.
Getting Tariq Woolen, who is very much like Brandon Browner, who they had, who was 6'4" as a corner.
Yeah.
And then the Patriots got Brandon Browner because they like tall corners as well. But it reminds me of Brandon Browner, a guy that you can hopefully develop. Getting Kobe Bryant, who was the Jim Thorpe Award winner in college football last year. I really liked their draft. If they had Russell Wilson on their team and they had this draft, I would have been like, okay,
Super Bowl.
playoff time. Like they're ready, but not anymore. So it's Drew Lock time, baby. I'll give it an A. I really like the draft. Lock and loaded. Well, yeah, I'd give it an A. It was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go with a B. Listen, they addressed the issue with the O-line too little, too late, but they put Charles Cross in there. I love the fact that they picked up Boy Mafe. The Kenneth Walker didn't make a lot of sense, but it's one of those that made sense, but it didn't make sense because I feel like it's the same type of offense that San Francisco has. Like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 running backs, and it's just like, what's this guy really going to do? Then you pick up another offensive lineman, Kobe Bryant. I loved that pickup for them. I think he's really going to complement that secondary a lot. But yeah, for me, I got to give him a B, and it could have been better. Could have been a lot worse too. So.
Yeah.
So it's clear to me that I'm clearly the lowest one in this draft. I gave it a C+.
Ooh.
because I personally didn't think Charles Cross fit in their offense. So I guess I'm wrong. So that was my quibble. It's been my quibble since draft day. I didn't think that they needed to get Charles Cross. They had other options. So, but Maffei's all right. He's good for he was potential first rounder guy type of guy.
Yep.
Had a good mold. Kenneth Walker, if they're trying to create a staple or they're just moving on from Chris Carson, I think it's more of the latter. He's been dealing with that neck injury and a slew of other injuries over his short career, and so has Rashad Penny. So how can you count on them for health? I don't know what Ken Walker's bill of health is, but the offensive line is kind of a little bit better than it was last year, potentially with Charles Cross. I don't know if I necessarily buy into it, but and Kobe Bryant, yeah, definitely a good pick. Kind of brings back to you the idea of Legion of Boom style of cornerback, good in zone, good hands, good play recognition. You know, to become the best cornerback in college football, you got to be damn near untouchable. And,
Yeah.
and that was the tag Sauce Gardner got, you know, the untouchable tag. But he's untouchable in zone coverage, and that is very hard to master. That's a lot of hand-eye coordination. That's a lot of time and preparation, learning your quadrants. You know, and he took that time. So, and he's going to a system where a coach can groom him and turn him into something probably very great. He has potential to be a very good, serviceable guy. Tall, long arms. How could you hate it? So, the back half really didn't impress me. Anything in day 3, I really didn't really take any stock in a lot of it. So, C+.
Yeah. Wow. That is different. You're right. Let us finally descend onto the NFC North. Let's start with the Packers because I'm ready to rip this draft to shreds. I gave him a C minus. Let's be real here. When you take Quay Walker over Nakobe Dean, I question everything about your franchise. Not saying that Quay Walker's not good, but if you're going to compare Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean was way better. Like, I don't care if he's got a torn pec or not. Take him and sit on him. We took not Owe. Oh my gosh, Ojabo. We took Ojabo. Is Ojabo going to play right away? No. Is he still a better player than some of the people on the board? Absolutely. I could not understand it. Now he could line up off the ball. He could be on the edge. He's more flexible, I think, than Nakobe Dean is in terms of what he can play on defense. That will be a benefit to the Packers, sure. But I didn't think he had to go in the first round, if that makes sense. Like, probably could have got him later. Devontae Wyatt, however, I've changed my tune on Devontae Wyatt. I'm waiting for Jay's response on that. That'll actually be a really good pick for them. I like it. Is he Jordan Davis? No. But is he the next best thing? Yes, he is. So I like it. I understand why they took it, but I'm still going to complain that they waited till round 2 to take a receiver because you almost cleaned house on your receiver room and then took back Christian Watson. Now, we've talked about this. Christian Watson is either going to be really good or really bad.
Really bad.
And I have
he's
such
either
a
going to
problem.
be Julio Jones or Funches, Devin Funches.
Yes. It's that bad. Like, it's really that bad. They drafted potential on that pick, not production. And it worries me, and I'm going to say this, and Kyle's going to hate it because he likes Carson, but there's something wrong with North Dakota State. You can see my name on here that I put it to. I don't trust players from that school because as of yet, Carson's the only one that has done anything that's come from that school. Had he not been injured, I'll give you this, Kyle, he would have been the MVP and probably maybe a Super Bowl champion by, extension of being the starter and not the backup. Who knows? Maybe. But he was good. Now, outside of that, nobody else from that school has been terrifying to me. Nobody else has been, man, that's the one. There he is. That's the guy we've been waiting on. Hasn't happened. So for me, he's right. It's either going to be Funchess or it's going to be Julio. So I was really critical about that. Then they took an O lineman. Great. Fantastic. You needed it. I actually like their round 4 receiver better than their round 2 receiver.
Same.
Romeo Dobbs, he's fast. He's got good hands. The problem, he played for Nevada. So
Level of
he did play with Carson. Didn't he play with Carson Strong?
He
Is
did.
that what I'm thinking up here?
Yeah.
Okay. So he had a good quarterback. So that could either say that he had somebody that bailed him out, or he's actually that good. So I'll again, like Jay said earlier, we won't know until a couple years down the line. But I like him better than Christian Watson to be that day one guy. I think Dobbs would kind of take that Valdez Scantling kind of position with Green Bay, but no, there's still no wide receiver one for me in that offense, and that's concerning. Zach Tom is good. It's good pickup. I did like Kingsley Enagbare. I kind of talked about him being one of those good defensive ends that you could get later. And then everything else was kind of okay. Rasheed Walker will be fine. Jonathan Ford will find his way. Probably won't beat Wyatt on the depth chart. But overall, like I felt like there were more questions than answers with the Packers, so that's why I have to give them a C-.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really like the round 3 to 5. Like you mentioned, like Romeo Dobbs, Zach Tom. Listen, you never trust someone with 2 first names. Zach Tom. I don't know about that. It's a little weird. But I had a very massive argument on Twitter about Christian Watson, and these North Dakota State fans, man, are ruthless. They're like, oh, he's like Calvin Johnson. I'm like, bro, shut up. No, he's not. He might be of similar athletics, like his height, his speed, like it's very reminiscent. But
What
Calvin
are they
Johnson,
smoking in Dakota? Is it
I
legal
don't
there?
know what they're smoking, but like to me, if you have to defend your receiver to that much to say that he's Calvin Johnson, I think he thinks he's not going to be that good. I don't love that pick. I kind of wish they would have traded up with their 22nd pick and something else and gotten like even a Traylon Burks, honestly, or a Jahan Dotson, like someone that's I think like more reliable. Like I don't know if Christian Watson is reliable. It's kind of why I like Romeo Dobbs. Like with Aaron Rodgers, the receiver doesn't need to be streaking wide open. He just needs to have a little bit of separation. And Aaron Rodgers is just like, I'm going to throw it in the perfect spot, so you better catch it and be where you're supposed to be. That's why Devontae Adams worked so well. Like Devontae wasn't the fastest guy, he wasn't the strongest or biggest guy. He was like 6'1". It's not that tall, but he ran really good routes. He was always where he's supposed to be. He had sure hands, and he got open. Like that's what you want from your receivers. And I don't know if Christian Watson he had a lot of struggles with his drops in North Dakota State. So I don't love that at all. But outside of Quay Walker and Christian Watson, I do like their draft. So I'd give it a B+.
There you are. There we go.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
I have
good,
to
man.
get something to drink. My throat's getting dry. I'm kind of sick, but I think it's just allergies. I always get kicked really hard when spring comes around, and my throat was drying out, so I was like, I need to go. I'll be back.
You're good, man. For me, I got to give him a B-. The Quay Walker pick, I mean, I agree with you, Brad. I mean, I think they would have been better off taking Nakobe Dean. But they did somewhat make up for it by taking Devontae Wyatt. Christian Watson, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I mean, I know he had a lot of he was inconsistent as far as hands go. I mean, I could see why people would love the guy. I could see why some people would say he's going to be good. But as far as North Dakota State players, like they're good, but they're not. I mean, it's not Bama. Let's just call a spade here. I mean, as far as Romeo Dobbs goes, I like that over Christian Watson, if I'm being honest. I mean, they addressed some issues, but there's some other issues that needed to be addressed. Case in point would be, you probably should have traded number 22 pick for like try to move up and take a more reliable receiver, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of pissed with them about how they went about just getting a wide receiver. If you guys don't remember from the draft, they didn't just sit back and wait on Watson. They traded a mid-level second-round draft pick to go up and pick him over the likes of Sky Moore and George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
You picked someone who is known around the league as a contested catcher. Those guys usually need things to go exactly right, or they're touchdown dependent. You know, they're not really getting the extra yards. It's not really getting the separation. You're putting together a project that you're trying to make something, and that's not something you jump up in the round to go and get. People weren't even
No.
looking at Christian Watson being in that position at all. So I don't get it. I don't get the pick. I love not so much the Quay Walker thing was kind of picking the lesser two evils. N'Kobe Dean had some shoulder pectoral muscle that might have needed surgery, so that kind of knocked his trade stock down, his draft stock down a lot. 3 rounds to be exact. So they felt like Quay Walker was the Mike linebacker in Georgia. He called the play. You know what I mean? So he's very athletic. He did very well at the combine. His tape looks very good. He's not stuck. He has athleticism enough to cover pursuit, recognize plays. He's a good linebacker. Is he N'Kobe Dean? Maybe not, but he's taller. He fits more of that mold of Devontae Campbell. They're already trying to say he looks
Yep.
kind of like Devontae Campbell. So if he's the will linebacker, you have a good will linebacker. You have a day one starter. You also have a day one starter with Devontae Wyatt, because Devontae Wyatt is a line stuffer. He has the tendency to be doubled a lot. Just imagine Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt side by side on the defensive line, and both of these guys require double teams every time. So that's why the outside of the defensive line got so many one-on-ones. It's because he creates that kind of, you have to stay attached to me while I'm getting to the quarterback, while I'm getting to that running back. He has power. He has great leverage skills. He doesn't get knocked off of his leverage. He accelerates with super quickness.
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, check his tape. He's very good. And there's one more I'm going to talk about. I may get his last name wrong. Kinsley Enagbar.
Enigbar. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Steele. He was at the beginning of the drafting process. He was predicted to be a first, second round. How he slipped so far, I have no idea. But he has a lot of potential. He's a work in progress. Don't get me wrong. He's not a clean cut first rounder. You know, he's that tweener guy that can really give you something if you can tap into what the potential he has. Because he's not one dimensional. He's not good on the run, and his pass coverage could use a little work. But that's not what they'd use him for anyway. He's blitzing. He's got speed and he's got power. And I think they're going to try to key in on that and try to make something. And the Penn State offensive lineman Walker, he lost a little bit of his momentum this last coming season. He got the worst BFF grade about all the time he was in college. But he still has potential to be a serviceable tackle, left tackle, to be specific.
Yeah.
He just got to keep up. He just has to work on his leverage and using his hands, getting position better. But there's a lot of potential. But I just really don't like that Christian Watson deal. I don't really think it fits. I don't like it. I don't like his style of play. Cincinnati, Desmond Ritter made him look very good. And he also made Desmond Ritter look very good too, because he got to some passes that were just supposed to just go some totally where else, and he just snatches it out of there. He's got good hands. Don't get me wrong. But every pass, Aaron Rodgers is not going to throw you the ball like that. Aaron Rodgers is not just going to chuck it up in there. He's going to want to put it somewhere, and you go and get it. And I just don't think Watson's ready for that. You got. Is it like Attack of the Pets?
I guess.
Yeah, or I don't know. He screams unless I pick him up, so I figured instead of the screaming, I'll just mess with him.
I was gonna say my dogs are just like, well, thanks, Murphy. Appreciate that.
Let's go to the Vikings. I'm sure Matt would love to talk about this.
Woo!
Let's start out. I kind of like it better in hindsight, but I still just don't see anything higher than a C for me because I feel like they could have addressed so many other things. But I'll give them this: their first 2 picks are home runs. I will give them that. Sign, fantastic. He and Harrison Smith are going to be a really good safety duo for a while because, I mean, Harrison Smith is a little old, but still, like that should be good for them in a division that's pretty easy to go through. I mean, if you play good defense, you'll shut down the Packers, and the Lions and Bears aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So, Sign was a good pick. To follow that up with a guy that was projected to go in the first round with Andrew Booth, fantastic. You needed a corner. I love that. It's after that I kind of go, okay, Ed Ingram, that's fine, I guess. He'll be a left guard, I'm guessing, for the Vikings. Play what he did in college. Kirk Cousins needs that help. I get that. Do I feel like they probably could have taken something earlier? Yeah, but you got really good guys defensively, and that's fine. Another corner, a defensive end from Minnesota. Ty Chandler should be okay since, Dalvin Cook is hurt every 5 seconds. And Madison is okay. He's serviceable. He's good when he plays.
What?
Oh, please. He's not in the top 20 in the NFL.
Oh man. I'm gonna put a pin in that, right?
Okay. I will say your biggest theft of this draft was in round 6. I thought Jalen Naylor was actually pretty decent in terms of like a prospect. He's pretty quick. Is he going to be Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen? Absolutely not. But maybe he takes that place that whatever the crap that terrible guy was last year that was like a reception magnet to take stuff away from Justin Jefferson, and I can't think of who he is. Shoot, who was that other guy? Like he would get like a hot start in fantasy. He'd be like their third option.
God, I can't think of it right now.
I can't either. That's why I'm like, I know who he is. Like freaking reception stealer from Justin Jefferson.
He was our. Hold on, because that's going to drive me insane.
That's
Go on
fine.
ahead, Nola.
Don't tell me. I want to figure it out myself.
Okay. We'll look it up quick.
Carter, Cook, no.
It's gonna drive me nuts.
Oh, okay. I know who it is. KJ Osborne.
Oh, Osborne. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Naylor at best could be that third option.
Because honestly, I thought Osborne was going to, just take Thielen's spot, honestly. So, yeah, that guy.
Honestly, thinking about it again, I'll give it a B-. It's not a C, but it's definitely not like, wow, we killed every single pick that we got. The first 2 picks are fantastic, and I think that's kind of where that sits for me. But oh well, I just didn't love it personally. Especially when you trade with your division rival to go to the very back half of the first round to take a safety that you probably could have gotten on day 2. So I was just like, do they have a plan here? Or anyways, yeah, that was my thought.
I like it. I like their first 4 picks, other than Ed Ingram. They really wanted to go for defense, and boy, they got it with Booth, Sign, and Asamoah. Pretty much all levels of their defense. So I like that. I just don't know with their offensive line. It seems like they draft a number of them every year. They don't pan out. So here's to hoping Ingram does well. But they're solid on receiver. They're solid on running back.
Yep.
Tight end maybe is something you could use, but Really, again, it's all going to come down to like, can Kirk Cousins deliver with the amazing weapons he has?
Well,
Because they invested a lot in their defense in this draft. We know their offense, their weapons. So
can you keep him upright? I think is going to be the new question, because everyone else in that division, except for the Bears, if the Bears had kept Khalil Mack, that would have been a very tough division to be in for opposing defenses. And that's my only problem with Cousins. Cousins is going to get whacked a couple times this year if they can't address the problems.
yeah, that's true. I'll give it a B minus. I think.
So I'm going to be a little biased. Spoiler alert.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to give them an A. Reason being is because that's what I said. I'm going to be a little biased.
All right.
So, listen, when you look at Kirk Cousins' numbers, the past couple seasons, 2020 through 35 touchdowns, 13 picks. QBR rating of 105. You look at his season or his stats from last season for 2021. 4,221 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with a QBR rating of 103.1. Listen, I've said it for the past couple seasons. Our defense was our biggest problem. Now, did it help a lot of times when our offense would go 3 and out? No, it didn't. But Mike Zimmer was stuck in old ways. I'm glad we cut ties with him.
Amen.
So, yeah, it's one of those. It needed to be done. I felt like it was a couple seasons too late. Now, is Cousins inconsistent from time to time? Yes. I mean, I think to this day I still think we are overpaying the man. So, yeah,
think?
that is what it is.
Guaranteed money, baby.
Yeah, tell me about it.
At least you're not the
However-
ground.
Touche. But we are addressing the elephant in the room by picking up as many defensive weapons as we can. Do I think we fell flat on our faces by not taking Kyle Hamilton when we could have? Absolutely, because he was definitely a plug-and-play type of guy. He is your prototype type of defensive player where you can put him here, put him there, and he's going to succeed. I did like Lewis Sign. I love that we picked up Andrew Booth when we did. Ed Ingram, I'll admit, that was a little questionable, but it's going to help our offensive line even more, I feel like. Picking up Asamoah, I feel like that was a steal. Like, the pick that really didn't make the most sense to me was Ty Chandler.
Yeah.
I really don't see why we needed a running back, but
Health is
like you said, Brad, Dalvin, he does he's injury prone from time to time. Madison, he's either going to be lights out or he's just going to, he's just going to fall flat on his face. It's going to be one or the other. There's no in between with him. So Jalen Naylor, love that pick as well. Like, that's why for me, I got to give him an A. And again, being a little biased, but Skull.
Well,
That was spicy, that's for sure.
I give them a solid B plus because they did address their number one need, which was their defensive back room. It needed to be revamped. It needed an infusion of youth. I give them the same mark of grade that I would give Green Bay because Green Bay did the same thing to their key unit that they wanted to reinforce. It just infused high caliber youth. And I think Lewis Kine is a little overlooked because he didn't make all of the biggest plays, but 37% of the plays played against him didn't make it to a pass in this direction. So, that comes with a little bit, but he is quick on his feet, tall, limpy, and he could come down and play in the box and still have that same quickness. So there is potential. There's potential with that. Andrew Booth, if he wasn't injured, he would have been a first-round draft pick for sure. For sure. He is awesome. I will sing from the mountains about him because he is good in the slot, outside zone, man coverage. He has potential, real potential. And putting those two back there, giving them opportunity to come in and start, play, be effective, I think it's going to help them. They're both going to have their shortcomings. There's going to be they have their problems. But I can tell you this, not knocking Kyle Hamilton, but he's faster and more adept. I think that's another reason why they passed him. He's a little quicker on his feet. He loses a little bit with being able to intercept balls. He loses a little bit. He doesn't have the softest of hands, but pass deflections, incomplete passes. That's it. I see Ty Chandler as a change of pace running back. I don't necessarily see how he fits unless the run scheme is changed, which would be a total 180 from what they're doing right now with two bigger backs.
Oh.
I don't know what they're planning on doing. The cornerback room, they addressed it a couple times. Naylor's probably going to contribute because he's really good. He's really fast. He's got great hands. And I think that given the opportunity, he can play in the slot and immediately have an effect. Speedy is his tag. Speedy. So, like I said, I'll give them a B plus with potential of an A.
Nice. Let's go with the Chicago Bears. The Bears did the most Bears thing possible and drafted rather poorly. Sorry. Kyler Gordon, that's great. You need a receiver. Jaquan Brisker, that's great. You need a receiver. Velus Jones? Really?
Oh, he's great, man. He's the best thing since sliced bread. Bro.
He's like 25. He's an old fart. What the heck?
He knows his way around.
When Chicago drafted this draft class, the biggest thing they could say with a new everything was, we hate Justin Fields. That's what I read from this draft. We hate Justin Fields. We did not draft him. He is not our quarterback. I feel a regime change because, look, we know this as NFL fans. Fans are not patient with teams. They are not. And Fields has probably got 2 more years to prove it or he's out. Because they'll give him more time because they'll say, oh, they changed everything. He's got to learn a new system. He doesn't really have any weapons. They'll give him excuses for a while. And then eventually they're going to say, he's a bust, cut him. Boom, there it is. Trade him, whatever. And based on their draft, I'm sorry, Velus Jones, out of all the options you had, I would have taken Romeo Doubs there. But Velus Jones, like, what a slap to the face if you're Justin Fields. If I was Justin Fields, I mean, I'd be sitting on the bench and say, you can play somebody else. Like, it's not going to make a difference. It makes zero difference. And you lost Allen Robinson. Who's he going to throw to? Darnell Mooney? Woo. I'm gonna pull the comments that Pat Bev was saying about Chris Paul. He was wrong, but the comments of, I'm not gonna go to bed early prepping for Darnell Mooney. I'm not gonna lose sleep over that. I'm gonna stay up late. I'm gonna have a couple drinks, party it up, knowing the next day I get to cover somebody that's Swiss cheese. So this is where those comments apply, not to Chris Paul, but they apply to Darnell Mooney and the Bears receivers. What a sucky draft. Enjoy the F, actually, that I will give you for this draft. It was such a slap to the face. Like, great, you got defense. This isn't the 85 Bears. You're not going to roll with a really great defense and win. You're not the 2000 Ravens. Like, when was the last time a defense carried somebody to a championship?
You're right. Defense helps out, and it's very important. But in this day and age, you need a defense to win. But you need a quarterback and a bevy of weapons to get you there, which we're not even sure if they have a quarterback because they don't give them anything, and their weapons they do not have any of those besides maybe David Montgomery.
Thank you for bringing that up too. They didn't really address O-line either.
Nope.
So Montgomery's
Braxton
gonna suck.
Jones.
Fields is gonna suck.
Yeah.
You can't move the ball. You're done.
I'd give it a D plus only because I like Jaquan Brisker. So,
Yeah. The first 2 picks are great. It just doesn't move the needle for them at all.
no, it doesn't. Like, they've had these types of safeties before. They've had these types of corners before.
Yeah.
They've all done really well, and they're probably going to do well.
Yeah.
But their issue is getting an offense that can put up points.
Yeah.
And, like, you're not going to do that with lone man Justin Fields back there, and that's it. You're just not. You need weapons.
All their points with his feet, man. He's got good feet.
You need a lot of weapons. I mean, Velus Jones, as soon as Justin Fields becomes relevant, Velus Jones is going to be in the retirement home. So, like, that's not going to do you much. I like Dominique Robinson. I do. But, again, like, they have all these talented defensive players. But listen, you're playing Aaron Rodgers every year, okay? You're playing the Minnesota Vikings, who actually have a really good offense every year. They're going to be able to put up some points, and I don't know if you're going to be able to do that.
No.
So,
Nope.
D plus.
Actually, you know what? I think the Bears will be the new Lions this year. There you go.
I agree with that. So
Yep.
I'm going to poke the bear here for a minute. The last time a defense carried an offense to a Super Bowl victory was 2013, and it was the Ravens. Because, I'm just going to poke
It's
that bear
true.
there.
I'm not even going to fight that. Flacco was so trash, it's not even funny.
I just wanted to throw that out there. So,
And here, I'll give you a hot take. The sad thing is, Flacco will probably end his career with more rings than Lamar if we keep wasting Lamar like we are.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
So,
Hopefully, the pieces that you guys have added to your offensive line over the last 3 years are actually gel. And your running backs, you need a better personal you need another position because ACLs and all that kind of malarkey. But anyway, here we go. I give them straight F. Kyler Gordon and Brisker, maybe. Braxton, no. Velus, no. Maybe. Dominique Robinson, Zach Davis, Zach Thomas, no. Tristan Ebner, no. Like, where are you getting this? A center, Doug Kramer, maybe. But really, that's the punter. We could have picked him up as an undrafted free agent. I don't know. It's a wash.
yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go with a D minus. The only reason I don't give them an F is because it does, like, with them picking up Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker, like, that's the only reason why I'm not giving you an F, because, like, everyone else, it's like it doesn't address the issue of you need to build or you need to get some weapons for Justin Fields. You know, I mean, yeah, it just didn't make sense. Like Jay said, you draft a punter.
Yeah.
Listen, punters you can literally pick up anytime, drafted or undrafted, free agency, whatever. It makes no sense to draft a punter at like this day and age in the NFL. But
Unless they're Matt Arson.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But no, for me, it's got to be a D minus.
Let's put it this way.
There's
We're
nothing
all
good
in
about
agreement that the Bears are going to have the first overall pick next year.
Yes.
That's about where they're at.
I used to think that about Detroit. But
And
now
it makes me want to cry.
And they're going to take Will Anderson.
They're going to take Will Anderson, exactly, and I'm going to cry.
Yep.
They're just going to waste that man's career. Anyways, let's go to the Lions. You know, the perennial suckers of the entire NFL had a good draft. Like, I don't know if they all just smoked before they started picking, I don't know if they just had a dartboard out and they're like, hey, these guys are pretty good. Yep, let's take him. Like, I don't know who was in charge, but this is way, way different than most Lions draft picks. And it's great. Aiden Hutchinson, I think he's a little overrated, but he's good. Athletically, he's really good. I think if he's in the right system, he'll be really good. Now, what's nice is he's going to have a defensive-minded head coach that's going to address however he needs to address Hutchinson to fit in that defense. Because let's be honest, the defense they're running right now isn't doing anything. So, honestly, just fit something to fit Hutchinson. You'll be fine. So, okay, home run pick. I think we all agree with that. Smart choice. Let's follow that up with, this is where it gets a little tricky, but Jameson Williams, okay, if he's healthy, yeah, he's probably wide receiver 1 off the board. If he's healthy. That's the problem. And I understand why he fell. I understand why he didn't go to the Jets. I thought the Jets were going to take J-Mo, but they didn't, and that's okay. The nice thing is it gives him time to recover. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to come into his own this year. J-Mo, however, when healthy, if Goff could throw the ball, if Goff can throw the ball, I'm going to say it twice just so people aren't like, you're insane. If he can throw it well, J-Mo is a great number 1 threat. I'm going to be the first one to go ahead and say that. Yes, you have Hawkinson. Yes, I know Hawkinson is a reception magnet for that offense. He should be, but it would finally be nice for them to have a wide receiver 1, and I think J-Mo fits that bill.
What about Kenny Galladay?
What about Kenny Galladay?
He's on the Giants.
Let's move on. I thought, okay, after day 1, they're not going to do anything. Oh, yes, they did. How about Josh Pascal out of Kentucky? Nice, lovely pick. Great defensive end. If you don't know, defensive ends out of Kentucky are actually halfway decent. Thank you, Josh Allen. Let's go then. They went and got Kirby Joseph, a really good safety. Fantastic. Again, what'd you guys smoke? You never do this. Then, I mean, everything else is kind of, filler, backup roles. But, hey, if you can go through almost like 2 days of drafts and not miss on a pick, I think you're doing something right. I'm going to give them a B+. Now, whether that'll translate into a good season, that's different. But I think they took really good developmental talent, and Matt Patricia should get it right this time. Even if they don't hit year 1, maybe you'll get that year 2 growth that you're looking for. But it's impact players, which is great. I mean, if you're the Lions, you literally could have hit anything, and it's an impact player. But you picked good players. So I'm sold. I like it. There wasn't anything that made me go, oh, this is stupid. So,
yeah, Dan Campbell's probably pretty happy with this draft. He got a lot of defensive players. They went heavy D-tackle last year, and now they got 2 defensive ends this year. They have a pretty good secondary already. Dan Campbell's the head coach, yeah.
Who did I say?
Matt Patricia. No one cares about him. It's all right.
Sorry. Yeah, Dan Campbell. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Matt Patricia, where are you now? He's, I think, back on the Patriots staff. But yeah, they did really well this year with their draft. It's surprising, so I'm going to give him an A- because this never happens for the Lions.
Yep.
Jameson Williams did not look happy in his press conference, but I think he'll be all right. Like he's going to be fine. Detroit's a little iffy, but
because next year they can suck and draft Bryce Young.
That's true. Like or CJ Stroud or the kid from Coastal Carolina. Like there's a lot of options right now. So I love their draft. I love Kirby Joseph as well. Safety. I mean, they hit on the first probably 4 or 5 picks. So A-. Go Lions. Woo! NFC North winners 2023. Here we go. Jared Goff MVP. Here we go.
I am going to give them a. You know what? I'm going to bump it up. I was just going to give them a B+, but I would go as far as saying that with giving them an A- as well. I mean, I like Dan Campbell as a coach for that team. You know, he himself is defensive-minded, hard worker type of coach that you want, and it's definitely translating with the picks this year by picking the defensive talent, potential talent that they did. Jameson Williams, I like him going to Detroit. I see him as a wide receiver one there, depending on how Amari St. Brown does. But no, I got to go with an A minus. Honestly, it's going to be it's going to depend on how Jared Goff plays this year. Now,
Yeah.
do I think they could have picked up a more consistent running back? Sure, but there's not. I mean, there wasn't really any standout running backs in this year's draft aside from I think we've all mentioned him a time or two, Brees Hall, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, for me, I got to give him an A minus.
Well, I'm a little biased. My wife's short Lions fan, but I'll stick around. I'll stick around just a regular A. Give him a regular A. They did just about everything you wouldn't expect them to do and had success with. Can't be mad at it. They could have addressed the offensive line a little bit more. That would make me a little more happy, especially the guard position with the lack of production they got last year from their guards. But they saw defense first. A lot of teams are gearing defense first. A lot of depth in defense. I'm assuming they're playing the same game as the Chicago Bears. Jameson Williams, I'm still a little out on him. I'm not as high on him, but his score potential is still a consistent number 2, which gives you a lot of speed, a lot of deep ball ability, a lot of great route running. You can play in the slot and on the outside. So he gives you a lot of potential, but will he reach it? I'm still a little weary on that, especially jumping up to get him. But all in all, pretty good.
Cool. All right, let's blaze through the last 4 as we go to the NFC South. Let's start with the Buccaneers. You picked players. Congratulations. It's hard because their roster really isn't bad, so it's hard to say this was a bad pick, this was a good pick. But they did address their needs. I just don't know that I loved who they got to address some of those needs. So for me, it's a C minus. It's okay. It's not eye popping. It's not whoa, but it's okay. Let's start with Logan Hall, the defensive tackle from Houston. That's great. You don't know if Ndamukong Suh is going to come back. Fantastic. Go ahead and start training his replacement. Good for you. Luke something. Central Michigan. Listen, I thought Bernhard Raymond was kind of the best guy from Central Michigan, so but it's the Buccaneers. They're going to be the Patriots 2.0, so they'll probably pick somebody we think sucks and it works
They'll
out.
probably pick a running back in like round 3.
Exactly. He'll probably does anyone know, is Tristan Wirfs, is he still recovering?
He's good, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So maybe he's a backup for Wirfs. Maybe he lines up on the other side. Not really sure. Rashad White, we've talked about him before. We thought he was kind of going to be a breakout, Kyle. We've talked about him in college. He was okay in college. You played for Arizona State. What are you really going to do? But I guess he'll just be like more of a volume guy because Ronald Jones is gone. So when Fournette is out, he'll be the next guy up, I guess. I don't really know who else fills that void. Here's where I kind of get mad at Tampa Bay. Cade Otton.
I like that pick.
Yeah, but why? Why would he need a tight end for?
Gronkowski's he might not come back. He's not committal.
Yeah, but they still have the white guy and OJ Howard. No, OJ Howard left, didn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that. Okay, so I guess we kind of need it, but
And if you don't know the white guy's name,
it's Cameron Brake.
Cameron Brake, thank you. I knew it was a white guy name. That's why I'm like, I don't remember.
But he's more of a blocking tight end. He's not traditionally OJ Howard style. So
yeah. Camarda's good. I mean, yeah. The only pick that I loved that they made was Zion McCollum from Sam Houston State. That is the only one that I said, oh, yeah, okay, good job. Good pick, good value, perfect for picking him in the back half and being somebody that can contribute or be a good rotational piece.
He tested freaky at the combine.
Oh, he's huge.
Yeah.
Then here's my complaint with you took Cade Otton. Okay, if you believed in Cade Otton, what in the world are you taking another tight end for? Kieft from Minnesota? Like, make up your mind. And then that's kind of it. For a team that's taken primarily defense in the past couple years, except for OJ and I think Tristan Wirfs, it was good to start with Logan Hall because Sue could come back again. He is a good contributor. He is not anything like he used to be in the beginning of his career, but he's still good. I don't know. I don't love it.
I like their draft. Logan Hall, you get some pass rush. It helps you out quite a bit. That's kind of what I said for them when this whole mock happened. Like, they're probably going to go pass rush early because that's kind of what you want when you're gearing up for a Super Bowl. You want as much help as possible. I think he's probably going to fill the void after Ndamukong Suh is done. Luke Godke will probably start at some point. I know they got Shaq Mason in a trade, but I also know they lost their center and their guard. So they need to replenish their interior offensive line. Getting Zion McCollum late, I think it's a good pickup. Cade Otton, I like. Rashad White, again, very much like Patriots. Like, doesn't matter what running back you have back there, but we'll probably use you and you'll play pretty well. And someone will pick you up in fantasy and probably start you a week. Like, and then the next week you'll be on the bench. So it's kind of what the Patriots do. I like it. I do. I think this helps them out quite a bit. Is it sexy? No. I'm gonna give them a B- though.
Yeah, for me, I gotta give them a C. Sure, they picked up Logan Hall. He's probably going to be a replacement for Ndamukong Suh. As far as the tight ends there, the only thing I could think of is that maybe they're planning on doing like what the Patriots did back in the day by picking Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski. Have that two tight end type set and try to repeat history there. But I don't see it happening. But yeah, I got to give them a C- there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like the Buccaneers. Part of the NFC South. Only the one team in the NFC South I like. But anyway, I still can't really be mad at their drafts because they addressed immediate needs. They didn't go out and just best ball it. They went out and actually picked what they needed to get, which is freaky when you actually can pick good picks based on need. Because Logan Hall replaced Ndamukong Suh. He's being tagged as being similar to William Golson, so that's not that bad. He's very serviceable. Took him a little while to find his way. Luke Godecki will come in to replace Ali Marfay, who retired. So he'll have potential to come in and start day one left guard, which would be something worth seeing if he could keep up his potential. Rashad White is basically replacing Ronald Jones. What he can do, his tape's pretty decent. Not that versed on him, so I don't have that much background on him. Caden Oden is more of a pass catcher, and Kofi Buffett is more of a blocking tight end, so maybe they're just filling in depth. Zion McCollum, I really like that pick. I was surprised to see him fall so far down in the draft, and I see potential for him probably moving into the free safety role because he does have good zone coverage and he's kind of tall, so he might just fit into that scheme a lot better. Playing off the ball because he played a lot of sliding outside. I don't know, but I like how he fits. He'll fit somewhere, and he's going to be a day one starter. But overall, sequence.
There. Let's go to the Falcons actually, because I want to talk about the Falcons. You let me just give a grade and I'll explain it. I'm going to give him a B. I liked their draft. I really did, except for your first pick. I feel like he is not going to be first round worthy. He's just such an interesting prospect. He reminds me of that like Christian Watson thing. He's either going to be Julio or he's going to be Devin Funchess. Like there's no in between. Like last year was a home run with Kyle Pitts. We knew what Kyle Pitts was going to be from day one, and he nailed it. But when you take somebody that has like a billion question marks behind him, I don't know that he's going to be the same thing on day one for what you expect. Now, they needed a receiver. That's no question. With the loss of Julio, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, anybody else? I missed anything? I think that's it. So it left you bare, left you really bare. But unlike the Bears, you actually chose to address it and address it early. However, everything after that I loved. Arnold Baby Kitty, or however you say his last name, out of Penn State is fantastic. I think that's a really good pickup. He's not big, but it's not going to matter if he can get to the quarterback. It's going to help a team that was last in 2021 in sacks. It's good. Go get a guy. Troy Anderson, I liked him too, out of Montana State, 4.4 speed. Yeah, he'll probably be really good. Desmond Ritter, another great pick in a late round, fantastic. He's very Mariota-esque, actually, come to think of it.
Mhm.
So it's interesting that they paired Mariota with Ritter. He could probably learn a lot from him since he's not Ryan Tannehill. He'll probably actually help him because that's what you do. I think Ritter actually could start year one. Anybody else feel like that? Like that he's just not a rotational piece. He might actually come in year one.
I can see it.
I think it's possible.
D'Angelo Malone, the guy from Western Kentucky, thought that was a home run. Tyler Algier, the running back from BYU, I wondered how far he would slip because he's actually pretty decent. The problem is he played for BYU, so he's not going to get the same kind of hype as everybody else. And then you took Justin Schaefer and John Fitzpatrick, and that kind of rounded it out. But I'll tell you what, for going 3 days worth of draft and kind of coming out with everything you needed to address stuff that you needed to address, I like it. I said a B plus. Sorry. It's borderline A. If these guys pan out, I think it all will hinge on Drake London. If Drake London pans out, it's an A minus, A plus range. But I'm just not sold on Drake London.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I really love their draft stands. Drake London. I think if they would have, he could be really great. He could. But if they went for Garrett Wilson, in my opinion, I think I would have been a little bit more like, oh my gosh, like that's it. That's the draft. But he could be good. I just don't know. He's one of those guys that I just don't know. Like DK Metcalf, when he came out, people were like, I don't know. And he was great. Same thing with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. We don't know. And he was horrible. You just don't know with these kind of guys. You don't. Ebiketie, though, that's how you pronounce it. A very good pass rusher at Penn State. Played at Temple before Penn State. Really gets to the quarterback and fast. Yeah. Really good motor, really good get off. That'll help them. Troy Anderson played quarterback at one point in Montana State. Now linebacker. Very smart and very athletic. Ritter, like you said, Mariota-esque clone. I like D'Angelo Malone. I thought he would have went earlier. And then Tyler Algier. Very, very underrated running back. I think he has a chance to step on the field right away and produce for them. So I'm going to give them a B plus as well.
I'm going to give them a B plus as well, but it's borderline B plus. It's in that A minus B plus range. But Drake London, you guys have already touched on it. A lot of question marks with him. If he puts in the work, I think it would be worth it. It's just, I don't know. I'm still questionable on that. Ebiketie, Anderson, and Malone, you figure they picked up some defensive weapons that'll help them out a little bit. Initially, I thought they missed the mark by taking Desmond Ritter and not Malik Willis. But looking on it now, it's just like, I think Desmond Ritter kind of fits that offensive scheme a little bit better. Algier, I mean, they needed a running back, I feel like, and they went out and got one in him. Like you guys also said, decent running back, just didn't get a lot of recognition because BYU. So yeah, I got to give him a B plus too. I think like you said, Kyle, had they taken Garrett Wilson, I would have bumped him up to an A. But we'll wait and see how Drake London does year one.
All right. Well, you already know. My grade's going to be an A. I'm going to give them a solid A, and I'm going to
Okay.
tell you why. I'm going to take just a little bit of your time to break down why I am now on the Drake London bus. Right? Okay. So previously coming into the draft, I kind of looked at it kind of from the Matt Ryan era kind of eyesight as the type of player that doesn't usually thrive in the offense ran by the quarterback named Matt Ryan. He usually likes the route runners, the guys that can get in between the gaps. He may or may not be able to get the ball to you, but he's going to try. But he likes that guy with that top end speed. And our offense is different now. Our offensive coordinator is working with a different style of quarterback. Two quarterbacks who are exactly the same in my eyes. Only one has more upside, which would be Desmond Ritter, because his inaccuracy is something that most quarterbacks can't come back from. It doesn't usually get better as you progress. You just either get a better offensive line to give him more time, or you improvise to cover it up. And I want to take a swing and say that he can be fixed for him. I think it's really with his mechanics and his throwing. When he sets his feet, he throws a lot better. But when he throws off of the platform, as they say, his passes seem to get away from him. His wide receivers covered up for him a lot because they were those contested catchers, so they could catch. The catch radius was pretty wide because of his inaccuracies. But I think if they can work on his mechanics and get him to throw more on the platform, he could come in and potentially start, because we don't have much of competition in Marcus Mariota. I actually want to say it, but he's not much of competition that serves in the background. And but I like the defensive guys too. Troy Anderson's probably more of a stash because he played 4 different positions in college. He's only played linebacker for 1 year, so I'm not that sold on him. But he has a mindset of what the quarterback does, because he used to quarterback and run football, so he has vision, and he's able to process plays in his head. So he's a good Michael. So, but I think he's more of a stash and develop and just use how you can. He's probably going to be a special teams contributor this year, but I see a lot of potential. Tyler really has a chance to step in. Schaefer can be some great depth on the offensive guard position. He's a little stiff, but he's powerful, and that's what they're trying to loosen up his hips a little bit, a little more stable. But it's a solid hit. You can't go wrong. Man. John Fitzpatrick, he got outshined by Washington. Didn't really have to use him much when Washington was around, and then the freshman came in and kind of stole the spotlight from him, and it was his opportunity to come out and shine. So I think he has a lot of potential. He's a pass catcher. Coward wouldn't be the worst thing when you don't really have many wide receivers outside of untested Drake London. So why not put some more untested talent out there? I think they did good. They didn't reach. For the most part, they waited until the players that were on our board came about, and they got the best players from them, and moved forward. It looks like a solid draft class.
Yeah, it should be for a team that was last year. Hopefully, this will turn some things around for them.
Yes, we need defensive pass rushing. Our sacks were second to last in the league.
It was bad. Yeah.
Bad.
Let's go to the Panthers. I'm gonna be really, really honest with this one. Ike Ikwanu in round 1, smash it through the roof kind of home run, fantastic. They could have had nothing better fall to them at 6. Matt Corral, probably better than Sam Darnold, but by how much is the real question. Will he adjust well? I mean, he does have a lot of weapons. He's got McCaffrey. If McCaffrey, again,
When healthy.
the health of the things around him, that makes me wonder if Matt Corral will even be worth it. Brandon Smith from Penn State, that'll be pretty good for them. Amari Barno and then Cade Mays, it's just meh. Look, I think you're probably only going to get 2 contributors kind of immediately, and that'll be Brandon Smith and Icky. So I'll give him a C. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not for not getting off of Sam Darnold, for not trading for Baker Mayfield, for not doing a lot of things this offseason and just kind of laying with what you got. It's not great. So I'll give you a C.
Yeah, there was some hype around Amari Barno and Cade Mays when they fell in this draft a little bit. So, like, in that sense, they're kind of boomer bust guys. So they're 6th-round picks. So it's kind of like a weighing in a prayer. Hopefully they'll do good. But you're right. I think Icky and Brandon will contribute right away. And I think Matt Corral probably could be just as good as Sam Darnold. And so if he starts and he plays this year, then this draft class is looking better.
Yeah.
It's just like, how much better is he going to be? I don't know. To me, Matt Corral didn't really have a very high ceiling coming into this year, and he could prove me wrong, but I feel like we're pretty much in agreement that, like, Malik Willis probably had one of the highest ceilings. Now very, low floor because, played at Liberty. We're not really sure about his progressions and his accuracy and all that stuff, but to me, Matt Corral didn't really have a high ceiling. But if he plays right away and Smith and Icky becomes that much-needed franchise left tackle, I think this draft could be good. So I'm going to give it a C+ as well.
I'm going to give them a eh. You know what an eh is? It's a C. I mean, Ikwanu, that's really the only guy I'm really seeing succeed with the Panthers out of their draft class. Maybe Matt Corral could surprise me. I mean, we'll see on that. Brandon Smith, okay, you picked up a linebacker. You haven't really had a decent linebacker since Luke Keeley, I feel like.
Yeah.
So you address that issue. But, I mean, the other guys, I mean, like, it doesn't really stand out to me. I mean, maybe Cade Mays could do some things in terms of helping out that offensive lineman or that offensive line, but it just, like, that's basically it. I agree with you, Brad. I feel like they should have traded for Baker Mayfield, but I have my own theory on that. Why the Browns are still holding on to him. So yeah, I give him a C. I give him a C. I mean, I can't really go much higher than that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty much in agreement. I don't have much more to add. The only pick I really value in this draft, honestly, is Brandon Smith. Because he's a very good linebacker.
Yeah.
Otherwise than that, Icky Kwanu, sure, he's still out in the M's. He's a brawler. He should play pretty well. Not having a second and 4th round draft pick kind of handicaps this draft class. So, man, see this.
Yeah. All right, and let's round out the whole thing with the Saints.
Yeah.
I gave it a C+. It wasn't what I thought they were going to do. That's for sure. The only way that this upside goes up is if Michael Thomas comes back, and Alvin Kamara faces basically no judgment for what he did. Outside of that, this was just kind of patching up the holes that have already been in the Saints team, anyways. Olave's great. I liked Olave better than Wilson. That was just my personal preference. Olave and Michael Thomas together would be great. Do we know that's going to happen? No, we don't. So for right now, you picked up wide receiver 1, and what something Smith and whatever your name is, who's wide receiver 3. Like we don't know their receivers. None of them were good. That's the whole point of this. Like, you're just going to do the same thing again. Olave's going to get mad. Olave's going to do the same thing Michael Thomas is doing. It's just going to be a repetitive cycle because it's the Saints. So, Trevor Penning, however, okay, yeah, I liked that. That's good. It wasn't like you taking Peyton Turner last year. We kind of all knew he was probably going to go in the first round. He's actually deserving to go in the first round. But your quarterback is Winston, so set your expectations really low because he's going to get whacked anyways. He's just a freaking turkey. Alontae Taylor, not bad. I like that. He's decent. Do I think you could have got him further on? Yes. Do I think it was kind of reachy for the second round? Yes. Is he a good player, though? Yes. So, it works out. DeMarco Jackson, sure. Why not? It's a linebacker. And then they took a D tackle out of Air Force. That should be pretty that should explain it pretty well without me saying anything else. So I didn't love it. I really didn't. It needs so many things to go right that had nothing to do with the draft for this to be a good draft class. And I think if you need to say that, it's a bad draft.
Yeah, this draft screams of a team that thinks they're ready to compete. Trading up for a receiver, getting Trevor Penning at 19, who's probably better suited at right tackle versus left. Spoiler alert, they lost Teron Armstead. Who's playing left tackle? I guess Trevor Penning or Ryan Ramczyk, but probably Trevor Penning. I don't think he's suited there right away. I thought Alontae Taylor was a reach. It's just like they have so many needs, I think, and their best players, Cameron Jordan, some of their linebackers, I don't know, like Teron Armstead, who just left. Like, they need to replenish that, I think, those guys in those positions.
Yeah.
And trading up for Chris Olave will never make sense to me because I just don't think that's where they should have went. I think they had a lot of needs and a lot of options to play around in this draft by trading backwards, picking up a lot of players. Like they lost Marcus Williams to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Like safety was a pretty big need as well. They have like no young linebackers at all. Defensive line's weak. We know their offensive line is probably the best part of their team.
Yeah.
It is. So Trevor Penning, I guess, helps that a little bit. But
now you're going to have what? Freaking like 43-year-old Mark Ingram running through the gaps? Like,
yeah, and I don't know with Kamara too. I mean, I'm sure he'll play and everything, but that team though, their best players are old and Alvin Kamara. That's not a recipe for success.
No,
it's not.
He might even start the season with the whatever he's got going on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like these moves don't really make sense to me if I'm the Saints. Mind you, they traded next year's first rounder to the Eagles. To the Eagles. And then a second rounder in the year later to the Eagles for these guys. So, like, is Chris Olave really worth that much? I don't think so. No. Especially when you have Jameis, I'm going to take all your crabs, Winston. So, don't know. Not loving it. I'm giving it a D-.
You got to eat the dub. Sorry. Anyways, I had one other thing that I thought of when you were talking. You know how you said all those guys that got drafted were Cowboys? Trevor Penning is absolutely a Saint because if you guys don't remember, he kind of gained a little bit of a dirty reputation at the Senior Bowl. And I was like, oh, this makes sense. He's going to go to the Saints, who have never actually really been super clean as a team. So, yeah, this pans out. This works.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to give him a D plus. Like, I like Chris Olave. I don't think he's a fit for the Saints. Like, my opinion, it's Michael Thomas 2.0.
Yeah.
He will probably have 1-2 good seasons and then just kind of act out a character and then just say, you know what? I'm not going to play for your organization anymore. Just trade me. But they won't trade him. Penning, I like Penning going there. Is it a need? Yeah, I mean, it is a need, but not in the sense of. I mean, Kyle alluded to it. You lost Armstead. He was left tackle. Penning is more so a right tackle. Lante Taylor, yeah, a little bit of a reach. I mean, at that point, you're just kind of like at a shot in the dark. Then I feel like the last two picks, you take a guy from Appalachian State, like Jay mentioned a few minutes ago. Then you take a defensive tackle from the Air Force, which nothing wrong. I mean, it's just like you're basically just spinning a wheel at this point. It's like, oh, that guy looks good. So for me, I give him a D.
I'm going to jump in really quick here. So for acquiring Penning, Olave, and Jordan Jackson, they used round 1, 16 overall, round 1, 18 overall, round 3, number 98, round 3, number 101, round 4, number 120, round 7, 237, 2023, round 1, and a 2024 round 2 just to acquire those guys. That's bad. I'm sorry, that's bad. That's not a good use of your assets. So
it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
It's a good day to be an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this: like for a draft, that looks like it was just jumping the gun, being so anxious to get key players, and you're reaching for guys who have question marks bigger than their potential.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a bad overall jump. And I'm kind of having the feeling, I'm looking at it right now, they're over what is their spending right now? They can't have a lot of money. $12 million. I'm trying to figure out a reason why they traded away so much draft capital. Is it because you were strapped for cash, or you felt as if what you were doing was really going to help your team? But I have to give it an F. And it's not just me being biased against the Saints. They are the biggest rival, but just to be completely honest, I don't believe in any one of the players that they picked on the team because none of them fit. Not one of them. Not one of them fit in any scheme that the offense is trying to possess. Why would you go out, essentially go for a number 2 guy who's just like off-field issues and all, just like Michael Thomas? Why would you go out and pick up a right tackle to play one of the toughest positions in the NFL this rookie season, which is the left tackle? Why would you reach for a cornerback who wasn't even in the top 75? The picks that they were making didn't make any sense at all for what a team who really needs a giant infusion of youth. You just overlooked it to pick up shiny pieces that you think are going to turn into gold. And they're probably gold dust. They're probably fool's gold. They're probably just fool's gold. And every person I talk to about the draft grades for the Saints, the consensus is never high. Never high. Because it just looked like they were picking from some other board that no one else was looking at. And just like, oh, that guy should be in the first round. Oh, we're getting him in the 5th. Let's snatch him up. All right, guy should be in the first round. Let's snatch him up in the third. No, that guy is a 5th round draft pick. You pick him in the 3rd round to fill a spot that he's not going to be able to do. He's not going to be able to give you what you want. Just because he's tall and he's fat, you can make him fit. It doesn't work like that. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I give him that.
Understandable. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for hanging with us. These have been the NFC draft grades for 2022. We will catch you sometime soon. I don't know. Tomorrow, Friday, we will have Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness review. That will be up for you guys. And then we will catch you later. Bye, guys.